All right, folks, what I'm about to share with you guys is not a theory. It's not speculation. It's not right-wing media spin. It's official. For nearly a decade, the American people have been lied to systemically, deliberately, and at the highest levels of government. The truth was buried, but not anymore, because yesterday, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard dropped a political nuclear bomb, declassifying over 100 explosive documents that now sits in the hands of the Department of Justice for potential criminal prosecution. And what those documents show, guys, it's worse than what we thought. Barack Obama, yes, the former president of the United States, allegedly ordered his intelligence chiefs to fabricate the Russian narrative in December of 2016. Now, let me say that again. The entire Russia hoax, the spying, the media frenzy, the arrests, the impeachments, the smears, it was all manufactured. And now it's all unraveling. These are not wild claims from anonymous sources. These are official intelligence assessments, the White House meeting summaries, internal emails, and buried reports that have now been brought to light. And Tulsi Gabbard's team just handed them over to the DOJ with one clear message. This was a coordinated coup attempt, and it's time for consequences. Now, stick with me, guys, because in just a second, I want to go ahead and walk you through the smoking gun document Obama's team tried to suppress, the secret December 9th Oval Office meeting, and the shocking reason why even Obama's own intel community said Russia didn't interfere, but the narrative was pushed anyway. And by the end of today, you're going to be asking yourself, was this treason, or was this the biggest political insurance policy in U.S. history? Now, hit the like button, share this video with everyone you know, and get ready because the deep state's house of cards is finally collapsing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is no longer a rumor, a tweet thread, or something whispered in the halls of Congress. As of today, it is official. The documents are real, the names are named, and the implications, they're staggering. Donald J. Trump is once again president of the United States. Joe Biden is no longer in charge, and under Trump's new administration, the veil has finally been lifted on what may be the most coordinated political deception in modern history. The deep state plot to take him down, it's not just confirmed, it is criminally referred. So, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has just released over 100 declassified intelligence documents, files that were locked away, hidden from the public, buried by bureaucrats for nearly a decade. What's inside? You're probably wondering. Well, it's proof. Yes, proof that in the weeks after the 2016 election, senior intelligence officials under President Barack Obama didn't just suspect interference. They manufactured it. These documents, they were sent directly to the Department of Justice for criminal review. Why? Because they didn't just contain redacted emails or vague assessments. No, they directly implicate Barack Obama himself and his senior intel teams, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, Susan Rice, in a politically motivated effort to undermine the lawful election of Donald Trump. Now, let's be clear, guys. This wasn't just dirty optics. This was intelligence weaponization on a global scale. But stay with me, guys, because what actually happened next is even more disturbing. You're about to hear how the Obama administration intentionally suppressed an official intelligence report that could have actually cleared Trump entirely. But that wasn't carelessness, guys. This was calculated, okay? So we need to go back to early December 2016, just weeks after President Donald Trump shocked the world and won the presidency. The intelligence community, the real professionals, not the political appointed, drafted a classified assessment for President Obama's daily briefing. So what did it say? It said Russia lacked the scale, intent, and sophistication to influence the outcome of the 2016 election. Think about it, guys. No hacking of vote totals, no manipulation of results, no election tampering. This wasn't Fox News saying it. This wasn't some MAGA blog. This was the intelligence community's own official consensus. But here's where the alarm bells start ringing. That report, it never made it to President Obama because before it could even land on his desk, it was pulled abruptly. And not because of new intelligence. It was pulled because of something called new executive guidance. What the hell does that even mean, right? Well, we found out. So the very next day, December 9th, 2016, Barack Obama held a closed-door meeting in the Oval Office with the heads of the CIA, the FBI, the DNI, and the National Security Council. So let me go ahead and name some names, shall we? Y'all want to know about some names? Drop a yes in the comments. So we got James Clapper, DNI, John Brennan, CIA, James Comey, FBI, Susan Rice, national security advisor. And according to newly declassified summary of conclusions from that meeting released by Tulsi Gabbard herself, Obama explicitly directed his intel team to stop asking whether Russia interfered and instead start showing how they did it. In other words, he gave them the answer and then told them to build a case around it. You see where I'm going with this here, right? So this was the moment that the truth was officially buried and the Russia hoax was born. So was this treason, or was Obama trying to protect, air quotes, democracy from a president that he didn't like? Because from this point forward, the goal wasn't analysis anymore. It was narrative construction. And trust me, guys, it gets even worse from here. This is only the beginning, tip of the iceberg. And trust me, if you thought it couldn't get any more brazen, brace yourself, because this entire phony Russia interference narrative, the one used to justify secret surveillance, arrests, and smear campaigns, was built on a document that they knew was fake. Now, I'm talking about the Steel Dossier, okay? That is the same dossier funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign and passed off as intelligence, even though it was riddled with fantasy, lies, and unverified claims. And yet, Tulsi Gabbard's documents confirm that James Comey, James Clapper, John Brennan, Obama's top intel chiefs, they knew that the Steel Dossier was discredited. They knew it was not real intelligence, but what did they do? They used it anyway. So according to the internal memos just declassified, career intel analysts protested. They literally told their superiors, this should not be included, but those protests were overruled. Now, Cecil Frith Sr. said something that struck me the other day. He said, when all you have for income is Social Security, $166 is a sweet raise. And he's right. That's what helped him save $166 a month. Guys, that's $1,992 a year back in his pocket. That kind of breathing room can really change your entire year, right? And I've partnered with Chapter because they fight for folks like Cecil, not with gimmicks, but with honest, personalized help. So if you'd like help like Cecil got, give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Phone number is down below, 909-563-8279, or head on over to their website at askchapter.org/Ron. That monthly raise might be only one phone call away. So give our friends over at Chapter a call right now. So let me say this again, guys. The U.S. intelligence community was forced to embed fake opposition research into an official report to the president and Congress on purpose. This wasn't some bureaucratic slip up. This was a deliberate act of deception at the highest levels of government. And what did that deception lead to? Well, buckle up, guys, because the damage was historic. I'm talking about a $40 million Mueller investigation that found nothing, 2 sham impeachments that tore the country apart, the destruction of reputations like Carter Page spied on illegally with FISA warrants, FISA warrants based on the Steel Dossier. Guys, we're talking about arrests of Trump allies who were framed as conspirators, years of headlines, leaks, and disinformation, and a media industrial complex that weaponized the lie against a duly elected president, all while President Trump, under relentless fire, continued fighting for the American people, strategic, patriotic, and relentless, even as the deep state tried to break him. So if they could do this to Trump with false evidence, corrupt intel, and a complicit media, what else have they done, right? Who else have they silenced? And more importantly, what's happening right now at the Department of Justice? Because Tulsi Gabbard didn't just declassify these documents, she sent them directly to the DOJ for criminal referral. So how did they get away with this? How did a sitting president's intel agencies manipulate national intelligence, inject a fake dossier, and also push a fabricated threat without anybody even stopping them? Well, they had help. Help from a media machine that wasn't just complicit, it was coordinated. Tulsi Gabbard, she dropped some newly released files that show exactly that classified information was deliberately leaked to outlets like the Washington Post and many others. And what did the media do with it? Well, they did what the media always does for the left. They ran with it. They turned whispers into breaking news. They turned intelligence guesses into headlines like Trump colluded with Russia. They never asked why career analysts were being silenced or why the Steel Dossier kept showing up in their inboxes. They didn't investigate the leaks. They weaponized them because this wasn't journalism. This was information warfare. And every article, every panel, every smug late night monologue served the same purpose: to cripple President Trump, before he ever had a chance to serve the American people. Anybody wonder why Stephen Colbert has been canceled recently? Well, let me ask you something. Was the press simply manipulated by bad actors in the intel community, or were they partners in a multi-year soft coup attempt against a sitting president? Well, now, after all the smears, after all the lies, President Donald J. Trump is back. And what he did on day one for his second term shocked the world. He signed an executive order, no hesitation, no delay. This executive order directed the entire federal government to correct past misconduct related to the weaponization of law enforcement and intelligence. Now think about that. He didn't retaliate. He restored. He didn't call for vengeance. He called for accountability and transparency. That's what real leadership looks like. Strategic, patriotic, compassionate toward the American people who were betrayed. Because President Trump knows what it's like to have the full weight of the deep state come crashing down on him. And he's determined to make sure that no future president, no future outsider is ever silenced by lies again. But the biggest question now, will the Department of Justice take action? All right, so let's talk about what happens next, because all the lies, all the leaks, all the corrupted assessments is no longer a matter of speculation. There's clear evidence that Tulsi Gabbard, as Director of National Intelligence, has now formally referred to the Department of Justice for criminal investigation. So let that hit you for a second, all right? We're no longer talking about debates in the media or some disagreements in Congress. We're staring down the barrel of criminal accountability for the most powerful political operatives in the last generation. I mean, we're talking about like potential charges like obstruction of justice, fraudulent use of classified intelligence, abuse of federal surveillance systems, and yes, conspiracy to subvert a duly elected president of the United States. Does any of this sound like treason to anyone? That president, Donald J. Trump, and now he's back in office. His administration has made one thing very clear. No more cover-ups, no more delays, and no more double standards. But here's the reality. The DOJ is now under pressure unlike anything we've seen before. They're not being asked to go after some rogue agent. They're being asked to confront the legacy of Barack Obama and the highest levels of his administration, including people like James Comey, Brennan, Clapper, and Susan Rice. So, will the Department of Justice do what's right, or will they once again protect the political elite? Because let's face it, if any other American had doctored intelligence to justify surveillance on a political opponent, they would already be behind bars already, right? So why should Obama-era officials be treated differently? Like, why should power insulate those people from justice while regular citizens pay the price for far less? Am I making sense to anybody? So this brings us to the moment of now, right now, all right? At the fork of the road that we're standing at. One direction leads to accountability, transparency, and healing, where even presidents face consequences when they abuse the system. But the other, it leads to silence, denial, and decay, where corruption becomes permanent and elections are just illusions. So let me ask you, where do we go from here? Should Barack Obama be prosecuted like everybody else would be? Or, are some people just simply too powerful to touch? Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Smash the like button if you believe in the truth over power, and share this video with someone who still thinks that this was just politics, because it wasn't. This was a plot. It was a cover-up, a coordinated attack on our democracy, and now it's finally coming undone. So guys, I'm gonna just go ahead and warn you right now, this is far from over. And as more DOJ responses come in and more whistleblowers step forward, I'm gonna be here every step of the way to cover every single step, because the deep state did not expect this day to come, but now it's official and they've been busted. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, how deep did this go? Who else knew? What else has been buried? Then you're not alone. Millions of Americans are waking up to what really happened, and YouTube, they know what you're looking for next. So go ahead and click that next video that just popped up here. Don't scroll away. Click that next video, check it out, because that next video that just popped up on your screen, that's the one that YouTube thinks that you're going to love. And trust me, you will. It digs deeper, it exposes more, and it takes this story even further than we did right here. So click on that next video right now before this memory gets holed again. You deserve the full truth. We'll see you next time.
Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.